Hi everyone, my name is Satoli Glassmeyer. I own a company called History in Your Own Backyard. I produce documentary videos on historic buildings, towns, and sites all throughout the Midwest. The whole idea behind this project is to educate the younger generation about these historic buildings so that when these kids grow up, they'll maintain what we leave behind. Today, I'm going to share 3 videos with you about my project. The very first video is about the project itself, why we're doing this, and what we can do for you. The second video is about the building that you're in right now, the Gahanna Sanctuary. The third video is about historic buildings worldwide. Over the next 100 years, statistically speaking, we will lose 50% of our historic buildings worldwide. Over the next 200 years, statistically speaking, we will lose 99% of our historic buildings worldwide due to fires, floods, storms, neglect, progress, civil unrest, wars, earthquakes, and the list goes on. Nothing lasts forever. Stay tuned, and I'll tell you all about it.
I'm Susie with History in Your Own Backyard. History in Your Own Backyard is an internet database featuring videos and pictures of historic sites throughout Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana. We produce these videos for 3 main reasons. First, to educate the younger generations about these sites so that when these kids grow up, they'll maintain what we leave behind. Second, to educate the general public on the historic sites in their own towns and neighborhoods. And third, all these documentaries will be archived at the state libraries in Columbus, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Frankfort, Kentucky, so that generations 100+ years from now can look back to see what we were so fortunate to enjoy in 2018. Unfortunately, all the historic structures in the United States will eventually disappear due to fire, floods, storms, neglect, or progress. We can't do much about the fire, floods, and storms, but we can protect these structures from neglect and progress if people take a personal interest in these structures. We won't lose these buildings next week, but it'll probably happen within the next 200 years. When the buildings and bridges are gone, they are gone forever, and the only trace of their existence will be through written, photographic, and video documentation. On average, every day here in the United States, we demolish 10 historic buildings ranging from simple one-room schoolhouses to massive bridges across major rivers. History doesn't have to be boring and of interest only to senior citizens. Our videos are made to excite people about the structures in their own neighborhood and in the next town over. The only way to save these structures is to teach people, younger people, to take a personal interest in the buildings. Once they have a sense of ownership, then the buildings can be saved and maintained. In a nutshell, we do everything including research on each site and contacting the owners to get permission to do a video of the building or structure. We produce, edit, and publish all of the videos in-house. The videos are then uploaded to our website, historyinYourOwnBackyard.com, and also to our YouTube channel. Once the videos are posted online, links are sent to the schools throughout the region so that the history teachers can share them with their students. These same links are sent to the mayors and council members throughout the regions so that they can share them with their residents. The videos are also linked up to an interactive Google Maps page where you can click on any pinpoint to see a video in that exact location. If you would like for us to do a series of videos on the historic sites in your neighborhood, town, city, or county, feel free to give us a call at 812-623-5727, or you can send an email to info@historyinYourOwnBackyard.com. This project is very important. We lose architecturally significant buildings every day, and these videos are the perfect way to be able to promote the importance of these historical sites. Thanks for your time. Welcome back to another episode of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today in Gahanna, Ohio. I'm joined by John Spinelli. John, thank you for having us at the Gahanna Sanctuary. This place is absolutely gorgeous.
You're welcome. I'm John Spinelli. I'm the managing trustee here at the Gahanna Sanctuary.
Very nice. And I've already gotten a little bit of a tour, but tell us about the history of the facility when it was Peace Lutheran Church.
Sure. So the Peace Lutherans here in Gahanna, they built their first church in 1838. It took them until 1895 to outgrow that little one-room schoolhouse brick facility, and they built this church in 1895. In 1938, they added an addition on that we sort of call the East Wing here, and then this was an operating church from 1895 to 1965, when the congregation again outgrew this church, which is their second church, and used the money that they got from the sale of the land in the building to buy more land and build a bigger church just a short ways away.
Now, we talked earlier, did they bring something special over from that one-room schoolhouse?
I think so, because they were very frugal.
Okay.
They didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And however many bricks were in the original schoolhouse are probably somewhere in this building.
Came over, yeah. I thought that was a really good use of resources. I
Exactly.
would have done the same. John, earlier you and I were talking about two of the features that have earned you guys this nice award of being on the Register of Historic Places. Can you talk about those two features?
In 1987, the state of Ohio provided an application to the National Register of Historic Places in the Department of Interior to list the building on the National Register. There are three criteria to be listed. Somebody famous in history had to have been associated with the facility or the location. Mm-hmm. Something famous, some event or some happening was associated with it. Or there's enough of architectural mastery or craftsmanship. And it was the third category that got us listed due to our Tudor-style stained glass windows and our Gothic-style revival bell tower.
Your stained glass windows in here are breathtaking. Tell me again who was responsible for bringing those in, who built these?
So there's a couple of brothers that were born in Germany called the von Greichten brothers. And they came to the States in the late 1800s. And got themselves in the stained glass manufacturing business, originally in Alabama. And because natural gas was a key component to firing stained glass and heating them up, somehow they figured out that natural gas was cheaper in Columbus than it was in Alabama. So they moved from Alabama to Columbus. We have a large community in Columbus called German Village, mm-hmm. appropriately named because it was a working class neighborhood, little German brick homes, probably very similar to the original brick church that the Peace Lutherans built in 1838. So they set up their stained glass factory in German Village. And then in 1895, they made the stained glass windows for this church and for, I've been told, 850 or more churches around the United States. Nice. But because they didn't keep meticulous records, we don't know which churches they built stained glass windows for. But they got to be so successful that one of the brothers actually went back to Germany, set up a stained glass operation in Munich, and then he did a lot of the finer work. So orders that were taken by the brother that remained in the States and in Columbus here, the actual delivery and manufacture of those windows took place in Germany, and then they shipped them back over here. Oh. So we have our stained glass windows are Tudor style. Yep. And as you can see, the big one in here that the camera's pointed out, there's a picture of Martin Luther.
Yes.
Up on the top, gazing upwards. And that's a demonstration of some really good craftsmanship. Because stained glass window gets more challenging and more expensive, the more irregular the image has to be, where there's scrolls and not just squares put into a window.
Another interesting thing about the facility is, and I don't want you to brush over because we did already touch on your bell tower, but it's interesting because we were outside earlier and I heard these bells chiming. Talk to me about how special that is, because it's not your typical bell since the former church took off with their actual bell.
Well, you're right. So not unnaturally, when the Peace Lutheran Church sold the property in 1965, they took the altar that was in here.
Yeah.
Because they wanted a piece of the old church.
Yeah.
And they took the bell that was in the bell tower. So we've sort of been a bell-less, bell-free since 1965. But sometime in the early part of this century, the Board of Trustees at the time had the opportunity to acquire a sort of a chime master PA system that we now have in the bell tower that sounds like a bell.
Exactly like a bell.
And we have it ring at 9, 12, 3, 6, and 9. And then we have a whole library of digital carillon music, mostly religious themed music. The longest piece that we can play is Ave Maria, which is like 4 minutes and 26 seconds or somewhere in there. So we have this sound that comes out of our bell tower that most people like. Some folks it may be a little annoying, but we like the people that like our system up there.
I'm a fan. Also,
So
something
it's unique for us.
besides the sound, you've got a light, several lights actually, that come off of that. Whose idea was that?
So, well, in 2016, I had just been elected to the Board of Trustees here, and a Board of Trustees owns and runs the property in the building. And at the time, the bell tower was dark at night. It's been dark at night since 1895, actually. And I looked at it and I thought, well, why don't we shine a light on it to sort of display at night the wonderful architectural craftsmanship that was up there. So over a period of time, we got the electric company to put up a light. Fortunately, we have a telephone pole right on the corner in front of the church. And so we could put this light on the pole, shine it at the bell tower, and it was one steady, long white light from one angle. And we sort of recognized that, there in downtown Columbus we have the Lincoln Levesque Tower here, and all these other buildings around the sites that light themselves up, so either on the ground or certainly at the top.
Yeah.
We thought, well, let's do that. And so we found a gentleman here in Columbus that does all kinds of lighting, and we put together a proposal to fund the lighting equipment that we would be putting on the bell tower. And because that cost was above and beyond what the budget capability of the sanctuary was, we formed a 501c3 charity nonprofit organization called the Gahanna Foundation.
Okay.
I happen to be the president of the Gahanna Foundation.
That's convenient.
Right? So it took us a year and a half to raise $8,500 to cover the cost of installing the lights. And celebrating.
Are they LEDs?
Yeah.
Okay,
they're
so all LEDs. Now, can you power it from a remote?
Every night
or is it on a timer?
Every night they're on for special occasions, 4th of July, law enforcement blue, firefighter red. The first week of school, we light it blue and gold to the colors of the Gahanna Lincoln High School.
Okay.
Christmas, New Year's Eve.
July 4th?
July 4th,
that was a good one.
Exactly. So it's an exciting opportunity to showcase the place at night, because before it blended into the night and you really sort of didn't know it was here. Now it's lit up, everybody likes it, and so we now have a plan to light up the entire building. Actually next week we have some trees out in front that will be uplit. We're going to light all the exterior, and then we're going to build a wedding garden. We're in a position where we're trying to rebrand ourselves and remarket ourselves from just being an old historic church to being a property that values and protects the historical aspects of the community. But we also have a portion of the building that needs modernization and updated. So our plans are to turn this place into an event venue for all occasions, whether it's weddings, receptions, or birthday parties, or we have little churches that rent us to have their services here on Sunday. Next door on the property here at the sanctuary, when they built the 1938 version, they also built a house here for the parson, and they used it for adult Bible school and other kinds of religious activities. That home was torn down in the 1990s, and the land that it was sitting on the grass has been mowed for the last 30 years. So one day we were looking at that and said, hey, people like to get married outside. Why don't we have something outside that they can get married at? So that idea has grown from going to a construction facility, Home Depot or Lowe's, and buying a simple trellis to now a pretty big, exciting, beautiful wedding garden that will have a nice pavilion that people can be under if they're going to get married and it decides to rain or inclement weather comes in, and a wedding garden that, because Gahanna is the herb capital of Ohio, yes, and it has been since 1972, the theme is going to be culinary herbs and flowers.
Gorgeous.
They're, anything that smells good, has a blossom, is perennial, you're on the team to be grown here. We are respecting the past.
Yeah.
Curiously, when I talked with the lady last week who grew up in this church and came here, her family came here for church services, and she told me an interesting story about the discussion and the debate that went on when the church decided it was going to move to yet a new, bigger facility. There was a very important discussion about when they left this church, should they tear it down or should they keep it standing? And there was a group of people that said, tear it down, because we don't want our church being used for anything else but a religious facility. Oh. And the other group said, we never tear down churches.
I might be of that
they
thought.
Won,
yeah.
Because of that,
yeah,
we're
here. Yes.
And now people can have their weddings here or their board fundraiser here,
yeah,
or any number of other activities here. And by the way, we give our facility for free to worthwhile community groups that are raising money for homeless folks or folks who don't have enough money to put food on the table. For the school system, we have a school system has a foundation, and much like the Gahanna Foundation and the Jefferson Lincoln Foundation, they raise money for projects that are above and beyond the scope of the budget of either the school system or the sanctuary.
Yeah.
So we love for people to come and see this. We love to give it away when we can.
Yeah.
At the same time, knowing we need to earn an income so that we can do all the historical repairs as well as bring in some modern updates and designs that will make it even will get us dressed up for the future.
Yeah, yeah.
And the future's here.
Yes, yeah, it is. Oh, and 36,000 people in Gahanna, right? I mean, and growing Gahanna. I believe those were your words, right? So, how very fortunate that you have this position, that you have this beautiful facility, and surrounded in the community that you have. So,
well, we thank you for coming and
yeah,
photographing us, and hopefully getting the word out. We're still sort of a secret. Not a whole lot of folks know about us. Very few people know about the bell tower, but everybody comes along, looks at it, loves it.
They will now.
So when we're all done with this place, maybe in another year, it's going to be truly outstanding. It'll be a one-of-a-kind place, either in Columbus or maybe Ohio or who knows, the United States. We're going to have a half acre that's going to be beautiful, smelling good, looking good day and night, and hopefully that'll bring us dividends in increased business, more people knowing about us, referring us, and letting us do what we do best, which is to have a wonderful historic building that's still here.
Creating
that,
memories.
Reflects the past, but at the same time doesn't hold the future hostage.
Absolutely. Oh, John, thank you so very much for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for watching another episode of History in Your Own Backyard here today in Gahanna, Ohio at the Gahanna Sanctuary. I'm your host, Susie Selleck, here today with John Spinelli. John, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for inviting.
Oh, this was great. And remember, travel slowly and stop often. Bye for now.
Bye.